One of the best drinks I had out right before quarantine started was called Serendipity from Existing Conditions, which is a bar that was co-owned by cocktail geniuses Dave Arnold, Don Lee, and Greg Boehm, which unfortunately has shut down for good, one of the many bars and restaurants that have had to close due to the pandemic. This was the drink that really changed my mind and made me question all I knew about alcohol-free cocktails and what they should and could be. The menu description was simple enough: clarified tomato, clarified passionfruit, grapefruit twist. But it is such an interesting drink and so savory and different, yet all the flavors go so well together. Since I will likely never have this drink out again, I knew I'd have to make it myself. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the fancy equipment they had at the bar, so I needed to figure out how to clarify the juices. When we think of tomato juice, we immediately think of the thick red juice you use to make Bloody Marys. But the juice of the tomato is actually pretty clear. It's just difficult to extract. I like using on-the-vine tomatoes. I find their flavor sweeter and juicier than a beefsteak tomato, especially this time of year. To get the clarified tomato juice, I started by cutting my tomatoes into quarters. Since I don't own a juicer, I'm going to use my blender to blend these up. After the tomato has been pureed, I'm going to add them to my saucepan and let this all come to a boil. Then reduce the heat to a simmer for about 10 minutes. This will cause all of the pulp to float to the top and separate from the tomato water. The best way to strain this is to let it drain into a bowl through a damp kitchen towel. After the tomatoes have finished draining, lift up the kitchen towel and you are left with a pretty clear and fragrant tomato water. You could also extract the water from tomatoes by freezing the tomato puree and letting it thaw. I think cooking the tomato makes it taste more tomatoey though. For the passion fruit, I will be using Agar powder to clarify. Agar, or Agar, is a gelling substance that is derived from seaweed. Basically, it's the vegan alternative to gelatin. I prefer to use frozen passion fruit over fresh. I find it's easier to clarify, and honestly, it's more economical to use. I just let it thaw at room temperature before using. The first thing I'm going to do is measure my passion fruit juice. To clarify with Agar, you need to use 2% of Agar to the weight of the juice you are trying to clarify. My passion fruit weighed in at 186 grams, so I will need to use 3.72 grams of Agar. Now I will add a quarter of the passion fruit to the saucepan along with the Agar powder and whisk together to combine. This needs to boil for about 2 minutes to hydrate the agar, which activates its gelling properties. You will notice that it thickens pretty quickly. After the agar and passion fruit have boiled, turn off the heat. Now you can whisk in the rest of the room temperature passion fruit juice. Then let it sit in an ice bath until it solidifies. The agar will set pretty quickly. Once the passion fruit has set into a gel, all you have to do is squeeze it through a kitchen towel. I used a nut milk bag and immediately regretted it. You will want something with a closer knit so that none of the gel gets pushed through. Since I made the mistake of using a nut milk bag, I had to filter my passion fruit juice through a coffee filter, which took forever. But it was totally worth the wait, as my juice was now very clear. It's really pretty amazing how agar works. The passion fruit juice I used was really thick, almost a puree, and it came out crystal clear and still tastes and smells exactly like it did before it was clarified. Since I had the agar out, I thought it would be fun to use it to make a garnish. The garnish this drink came with was a simple grapefruit twist, so I will be using grapefruit juice to make some grapefruit pearls. First thing I'm going to do is juice the grapefruit. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any ruby red grapefruit for this, but I really wanted the color to pop, so I will also be adding the juice of one blood orange. To make the grapefruit pearls, I will be adding a half cup of the juice to the saucepan, along with 1 gram of agar powder. I will let this boil for exactly 2 minutes, whisking to combine. After the mixture has boiled for 2 minutes, remove from the heat and transfer to a jar or a glass. I will be using a syringe to extract the grapefruit mixture and slowly add droplets to a glass of cold canola oil. You can use any neutral oil as long as it doesn't solidify in the refrigerator. I let mine sit in the fridge for 2 hours to chill. The droplets immediately form into little gel spheres thanks to the cold temperature of the oil. The droplets should sink to the bottom of the glass. Once all the pearls have formed, strain off the oil and give the pearls a rinse under cold water. I think they came out so pretty. I love the color they turned out to be. They look almost exactly like salmon roe. Before I make the cocktail, I want to prep my garnish first. To hold the pearls, I'm going to cut a passion fruit in half and remove the seeds. Once my little passion fruit half is cleaned out, I'm simply going to spoon in the pearls until they fill the passion fruit half. I am still also going to peel a grapefruit twist to express onto the finished drink. Now we are all set to build the cocktail. First, I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of the tomato water to my mixing glass. Next, I'll add 1.5 ounces of the clarified passionfruit juice. Now I'll just add the ice and stir for 10 to 15 seconds. Then I'm going to strain the cocktail into a rocks glass over a large ice cube. Then express the grapefruit twist over it. Right before, I carefully add the garnish. And here it is, my attempt at existing conditions serendipity cocktail. It's so savory and tart. I just love this drink, and I don't miss the alcohol at all. And while it probably could use a touch of simple syrup, I really like the savory flavors. Also, the grapefruit pearls add a bit of sweetness if you snack on them while enjoying the drink. While it wasn't as perfectly clear as theirs, I think I did a pretty solid job. I think I will keep tinkering with the juices to get more clarity, but probably won't be investing in a centrifuge anytime soon. Thanks again for watching, and I really do hope you give this drink a try. I'll see you all again next week with another cocktail video.